Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wild Moments brought to you by explore.org. I missed you all on Tuesday, but I'm sure you had a wonderful time, and now I'm back rather snotty, but here nonetheless. And we have none other than Mike Fitz in the house. How's it going, Mike?
Hey, I'm doing well, and happy Halloween to you. I don't know if is that a thing in your part of the world?
Um, it is definitely a thing for me because
Okay.
I love creepiness. So and I love spiders and bats, obviously. So it is a thing for me, but in South Africa, not a huge deal. But thank you very much, and a happy Halloween to you too. How are you celebrating?
Well, I live in a very rural area, so we don't get trick-or-treaters here. Although I enjoy that. If I'm ever like in a town where kids are going around handing out candy, I like to be one of those places that has good treats. So, but I won't be able to do that this year.
Well, I thought maybe you'd dress up for us, something along those lines. No?
I should have. I should have got my old park ranger outfit on and my old hat or something.
Oh, that would have been great. Well, at least in this house, and for anyone else out there, we are celebrating Diwali. So it's a Hindu festival today. So there's lots of food around and lots of sweets that we'll get to after the show.
That sounds
What
excellent.
else is? Yeah, it's always fun when Diwali is on the same day as Halloween because you're not exactly sure what to do with yourself. But a bit of both in this house this afternoon. So how's it been going, Mike? How's the bear cams? Anything you want to report on?
The The bear cams, unfortunately, we lost access to power to them. I think a couple of weeks
Oh,
ago or something like that. So the bears, but in a sense, it's kind of well timed because the bears are all heading to their dens right now for winter hibernation.
mhm.
So that's kind of like the main story associated with them. There's probably a few still poking around Brooks River in Katmai, but yeah, for the most part, they're headed off to their dens. It's a slower season for me, which I don't mind after sort of like the chaos of Fat Bear Week, which is always super busy for me. So yeah, I'm enjoying some nice fall weather now.
Nice. I love the term Fat Bear Week, and it's the one time that I think explore.org just takes over my social media because I'm so invested in who's going to be named the chonker of the time and the competition between this fat bear and the other fat bear. I love it. Absolutely love it. Well, I have someone to introduce to you. Perhaps you could provide some names because we're live and interactive, and you can send through questions and comments, obviously, and I'll get to them. But I'd like some names for this new edition.
Oh,
It's a
is that
pangolin.
a pangolin? Yeah.
Yeah, it's my new favorite gift, but I haven't managed to name it yet. So if you have some ideas, please send through. I'm not sure if it's a male or female yet. I'll have to do that based on your name suggestions. Well, if this is the first time that you're joining us for Wild Moments, like I said, we're live and interactive, so please do send through questions and comments. If this is your first time joining us, we'd love to hear from you, especially. Let us know, and the whole Africam community will give you a great big virtual hug. And if you're wondering what we do for Wild Moments, we go through some cool clips over the last week. Sometimes we have a theme, but this week the clips were so cool that we didn't even have to have a Halloween theme. So we're going to go through some of them. But before we do that, let's go through some hellos. Tris Visop is first up. You say, hello, everybody. Oh, due to time change, you're forced to watch the shows on rewind, but you're sure it will be lovely. And you love the floppy ears of the zebra that we're going to be seeing a little later. That's going to be a really interesting discussion. I think I haven't seen this floppy eared zebra. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen a floppy eared zebra. So that's going to be quite cool. Aussie Jan 2, you say good afternoon with a coffee. We knew it. Amber Co, you say waving hello. And you always look forward to these Thursday clips and appreciate everyone who brings them to you. Uh, Dear NC, you say good morning, Trish and Mike. Happy to be here. Well, we're happy that you're here. Casper's Dead Ghost says hi all. Hot coffee ready for the show. Thank you so much. Hi, Mr. H UAE 87 says, "Hi, Christy, and happy Halloween today." Thank you so much. Jack DeBoer says, "Morning, guys. Good morning to you, and good afternoon for me. And for you, Mike, it should be morning as well."
It is, yes.
Nice. Andy says, "Good day, all. Sounds like this show will be a whirlwind of fun." Pun intended, because maybe Andy knows what the first clip is. April Owl says, "Good morning from sunny Connecticut with your raspberry iced tea by your side, and you're happy to be here." Jean Gale says, "Good morning from rainy foothills of the Cascade Mountains near Seattle." Well, that sounds lovely. And you're watching on your phone. Nice. And then Jan Power says, "Hi, everyone." All right, shall we jump into our first clip? Head over to Namibia to Safari Hook to see what this whirlwind that Andy is talking about is all about. Oh wow, that's quite a large dust devil. I haven't seen such a big one on our cams before.
Yeah, yeah. If I was in this situation, I'd be a little concerned for my eyes at this point in time and trying to protect those.
Exactly. And I mean, even though I know that it's very unlikely to create enough force to lift me up, especially here in Southern Africa, I would still be moving out of the way.
Where did our giraffe? Oh, our giraffe. It seems like maybe it just walked straight through it.
Yeah, I was about, just as you said that, I was about to say, "Oh no, it's taken the giraffe." Thankfully not. But that's quite a significant one, huh?
Yeah, that's much bigger than the ones I've seen in person. Um, they're normally not that wide. So that yeah, that was a legit stuff. So it's hard to get a sense of scale, Trish, with how far back the giraffe is now, like
Yeah.
distance wise against those trees. I wonder if it did actually end up moving quickly through that, or if it just sort of stood there and took it as best it could, and then
Yeah,
just kind of kept on going where it wanted to go.
exactly. And if you think about, I mean, if we're looking at the tallest of the tall giraffes, we're looking at about, 5.8 meters. Some say 6, but we're yet to have like a confirmed report of 6 meters tall. And so that dust devil looked pretty significant, particularly at the beginning when the giraffe looked like it was next to it. But like you said, it's so hard with the camera to figure out if there's distance between it and the giraffe, or if the giraffe just moved to the side. And then in terms of how much force it could create, I have no idea. Like it almost looks like the giraffe is closer to us than the dust devil. But it
It
looked like it
certainly
walked
looks like
through,
it.
no?
Yeah, it just walked right into it and then right through it. Maybe it didn't have a choice.
I suppose it comes at it so quickly, that before you know it, you're in the middle of it, and then suddenly you're on the other side of it. Wow. We seem to be, so the other place that we see them is at Tau. And Tau also has, at least in the spots that we see them, has little vegetation cover or ground cover. And I think that that contributes to the formation of the dust devils. It's not something that we see commonly in South Africa. We don't get, or Southern Africa, I should say, we don't get tornadoes and the sort of things that maybe you're more used to in North America. Um, but I understand that dust devils are a result of um, rapidly moving air as a result of heating up right on top of the ground and then moving through the denser, cooler air, and then that creating this whirlwind. Um, but yeah, what has been your experience with those kinds of phenomena in North America?
Yeah, they're much. I think they're much more common in in areas where there's little vegetation and it's very dry. So I
Mm.
think those are combinations where you tend to see them the most. Like if you're in an area where there's a lot of trees, you can see like the wind spinning and swirling and sometimes picking up leaves into the air, but it's never really like big, intense sort of movements of dust like that. It's more or less what, yeah, if you go into the Great Plains or the central prairies of North America or farther west into the southwest deserts of the United States, that's where you tend to see them, I think, much more often than anywhere else. So like if I go outside here, I might worry about a thunderstorm, but I'm never going to worry about a dust devil. So it's more or less like, hey, these trees look like they're rocking above me. Is this safe for me right now? Never have to worry about a dust devil though.
So definitely, dryness and lack of ground cover contributes. Well, I suppose also more ground cover means that there's cooler temperatures, cooler surface temperatures because of the ground cover, because of the plants, transpiration and stuff like that. So I suppose the temperature and the ground cover have a relationship as well. Yeah, but we
Less
only really
dust
ever
and loose
yeah.
soil as well. Like, that if you even if you have grass or you have a field of wheat or something like that, that's going to significantly, I think, reduce the formation of something like that. Um, from my experience.
And then I also wonder if there is a lack of dust. Potentially, these could still form, but visually we wouldn't be able to tell unless we look at the swaying of the
Hmm.
vegetation. The dust is what's really pulling us in here, so that we can see the shape.
Yeah, we I think that's a great point. And we wouldn't be able to visualize that. One of the ways
Hmm.
if you ever sit and watch soaring birds, so uh, the hawks, or maybe I don't know if in your area if they call them buzzards, um, but
Yeah,
but if you see
that's good for
soaring birds or like
us.
vultures, especially, like
Yeah,
they're masters of this of basically like feeling the air and utilizing that to their advantage. So you can see them when they're just like, and they just swirl and swirl and swirl up with using no energy, and that they're just feeling the air rising underneath it and using that to their advantage. And that's one of the more amazing things I think about watching them. You can almost see the air currents and the movements of some of these birds.
yeah. And I've always, well, something I've wondered about that is that we know, so for us, vultures do that a lot. You can also, every day you go out, if the sun is out and you go out in the morning, you're going to see them riding a thermal. And I often wondered, we know that vultures have really good eyesight, but potentially could they see the hot air of the surface? Because I mean, we can see hot air rising a little bit. Like, when you see heat haze in the distance. So I wonder if large birds of prey see it better and are able to take advantage of it, or know when to hop off the tree to catch the thermal.
Yeah, I don't know. We know they can see more colors than us.
Yeah.
So maybe I don't know if that ultraviolet ability to see ultraviolet light gives them any sort of advantage in those situations or not. That would be fascinating to know.
Yeah. And even the word is escaping me now. What do you call it when light moves in a single direction? Polarized. Polarized light. I wonder if they are able to see polarized light, and whether polarized light, or whether the change in air temperature affects how light moves in what direction. Anyway, this is all fascinating stuff that I don't know the answers to, but now I'm just thinking out
Yeah, if
loud.
anyone knows, let us know. Put it in the comments so we
Yeah.
can find out.
Casper Stead Ghost says that is a run, Forest, run situation. Um, I feel like that giraffe didn't know run, Forest, run until it was too late, and then it was like, oh, it's over. Now what? But yes, we do know the movie. Thank you, Casper Said Ghost. Oh, and you also say that Tao had a big one yesterday that sent the Ellies running. Interesting, because I think, like, just as the dust devil came very close to the giraffe, it looked like the giraffe had a little bit of a panic, and when they do that, they kind of lift up their front, almost like wanting to do a gallop. But usually
Hmm.
they lift up the front legs to quickly turn direction, like, lift up and swing. It kind of looked like the giraffe did that at the beginning. But elephants, I'd imagine, are a lot more reactive and quicker. So it doesn't surprise me that they did react, uh, or sent the Ellies running. Oh, Zygote is on board. You say Happy Diwali, Africam, and everyone on board. Happy Diwali to you too, Zygote. Okay, on to the next one. And speaking of Tal, remember we haven't seen these clips. I've tried to pull information from Kirsten to tell me what to expect, and she's just like, hmm. So let's have a look. We have an incident involving a crocodile and a cheetah, which apparently doesn't end badly. I've had the misfortune of seeing a couple clips in places I've worked where this does end badly for cheetahs. So I'm really happy if it doesn't. Remember, we're here at Tau. Oh my goodness! We got a jackal
Wow.
running in the
Talk about a
distance.
vertical leap.
Yeah, I didn't even see that crocodile.
Evidently, the cheetah didn't see it either. I mean, it's not right next to the water. It seems like it's quite a bit away, so I can't really blame the cheetah, especially if it's at night. That just looks like a rock hanging out far from the water.
Yeah, and cheetahs are most active, or they hunt most during the day. So we can assume that their eyesight would, while leopards and lions are very active at night and have the type of tipidum lucidum, maybe to account for that, to collect as much light as possible. Perhaps cheetahs don't have or never had the pressure to
Hmm.
refine that kind of night vision. Still, though, it is a cat, so it's still going to be able to really dilate those pupils to get as much light as possible in. Always amazes me. Whenever I
And
see
this behavior
predators,
really
yeah,
seems interesting because it's almost like the cheetah really seems like it's trying to evaluate just what the heck it ran into. Is this a threat to me?
exactly.
Or is it something else? Did I mistake what was going on? It's almost like it can't quite figure it out, maybe due to the darkness.
And it's something that I've seen in other predators as well, where they'll, if something gives them a fright, unlike say herbivores that will just bolt, there's no effort given to investigate it. And I mean, obviously, you wouldn't want to if it could potentially kill you. But I've seen this before, like with leopards, trying to investigate what it was that spooked them.
Hmm.
It feels like a waste of energy and also risky.
You could see its mouth opening too. We can't hear it if it was vocalizing. Do you think it might have been vocalizing in that situation, or if it was just more? I've never heard. I don't have any experience watching wild cheetahs and the noises they make, so I was wondering if it would be making
Uh,
any sort of hissing noise or growling or
yeah,
roaring in that situation.
it would be more like a hiss.
Okay.
Cheetahs make very very chirpy kind of sounds, almost like birds. In fact, I was at a reserve not too long ago at Mabula, which is where we have one of our camps, and the cheetah researcher there was telling me that there were some red-winged starlings outside her window, and they so perfectly mimicked the sound of the cheetah that she honestly thought that the cheetah was outside because they make this
Hmm.
very bird-like chirp. And then they also purr and they can hiss, but they don't have that deep, very frightening growl that big cats have, Panthera have. I must tell you a story very quickly because we're talking about the hissing and the growling. And so I was at a reserve, but I wasn't working, which is the best way to be at a reserve. I was just chilling for these couple days. So I decided to take a walk to one of the decks. But there were no guests or anything like that. So it was completely on my own. And I was just sitting there watching the waterhole and on my laptop writing a couple things. And I just heard this growl come from behind me. But it was not, it's as if it's not sound coming out of the animal's mouth, but just this gurgling that's happening in the throat. And it was so deep, so intimidating. I didn't assess a single thing, not how far it was, not anything. I closed my laptop and I went back. It was so intimidating. I later found out that a young sub-adult lion was separated from the rest of the pride and was hanging
Oh,
around in that. Yeah,
well, no, even
it would
with
have.
the cheetah clip, I think we could empathize with what the cheetah experienced in that moment where it realized, hey, I'm in danger. Like if we've ever been truly scared, like our our flight instincts, our fight or flight instincts kick in before we're even thinking. And I think that's what we'll see that when the cheetah jumps. It's just like, what in the world is going on? It reacted maybe even before it could process anything.
Whoa, and that was so athletic. And you're 100% right. And I think as comfortable humans that tend to control our environment, we, can turn the air conditioner on or put a fan on, or we can adjust our environment to suit our comfort. And thankfully, I suppose, very seldom do we actually get into those situations where flight res- um, a response actually flight or fight response are actually triggered in the fullest way. And when it does, it's not a matter of thought. It's not a matter of figuring something out. It's as if your body just knows and you react so quickly. And in a way, it's almost a comfort.
Yeah, I would
I
agree.
had
It's like it's nice to have that ability um, to, this is
exactly.
like touching something hot. Like you don't need to think about it before pulling your hand away. Your body just kind of does it for you.
I was so I had a really interesting experience recently, um, where I was involved in this pangolin release, which is where this guy is from, and I didn't expect the hike to the release site to be so treacherous, and honestly could have died 100 different ways. And I didn't at the beginning, I thought to myself, "Oh, Trishala, you got to be careful and you got to be safe." And before you know it, it's like your body just stopped thinking, or your brain stopped thinking about these things, and it just became survival mode. Just like, okay, if I slip, I'm gonna fall off this cliff and into the water, and I will die. But it just amazed me when I was done how there was absolute clarity in those moments where you're doing these dangerous things and you didn't it's as if your body didn't even want to give you time to think about it. You just knew one step in front of the other, as long as I don't slip. But it was such a comfort to know that I could do that my body could do that without me having to think about something.
And that, yeah, that could provide you the advantage that you need, the clarity that you need to keep moving rather than freezing with fright or something like that.
Exactly. um a grumpy old man, you say, "Oh my word, croc edition." I mean, we didn't even see that croc, definitely. And I suppose that's also the great thing about crocodiles as apex predators is that because they don't move a lot, they can very much be mistaken for just a log or a rock, and they're covered in all this mud. So it all adds to that advantage. JJ, you'd like to know if the croc caught it, would it go straight into the water? Um, Not necessarily. In fact, I don't think it would. It was a little bit of a long um, walk to the water. I think it would have, if it caught it, it would have held on to it until it died, and then it would have slowly made its way to the water. Um, I was lucky enough to see a crocodile, unfortunately, not when he actually made the kill, but just after. And it took that crocodile a really, really long time to settle down with its kill in its mouth, get into the water, and then start to death roll and break it up. It must have taken about 3 hours for it to do that. So it would have taken some time. That being said, I don't think that that crocodile was expecting the cheetah and was looking to hunt. If he did catch that cheetah, it would have been completely opportunistic. But I think both of them kind of scared each other there.
Right. That seemed to be my impression of it as well, looking at it from an outsider who knows very little though about crocodiles and cheetahs. But the quickness of both of them, the athleticism of both of them, I mean, quite amazing.
Yeah.
If you're at rest like a crocodile like that, to be able to react so quickly like that, and the cheetah too. Again, it's jumping. It's full height off of the ground, and there's not a lot
Yeah.
of humans that can jump their full height off of the ground without some sort of tool to help leverage us
Yeah.
into that into the sky.
Absolutely. I'm still wondering though, if we got that kind of fright where something was at our feet, how far could we jump up into the air? I wonder. Um, anyway, let's move on to the next clip. Now we're heading, so we went to Namibia, we were back here in South Africa, and now we're going to head over to Kenya, to Lentore, to see a very cool clip as well. Oh my goodness, this is the most strange and awkward but somewhat cute looking zebra I've ever seen in my life. Oh my goodness.
Oh, it's almost like the zebra version of Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh.
Exactly. Oh, wow. So, like I said to you, we don't get to see these clips afterwards. We do, I mean, beforehand. We do get a little brief description, and I did hear that the zebra has floppy ears and has no mane. How interesting. Also, the zebras around it seem to have upright ears and have a mane. That's very interesting. So, I did a little bit of searching. Now, I know that the plain zebra has six subspecies. Um, And one of those subspecies is something called a maneless zebra. Oh, I must remember it was Borensis, or let's just remember the name. Borensis, yeah. So I wondered if maybe this could be one of those subspecies that's just gotten mixed up amongst the other plain zebra. But Lantori is kind of uh, South Kenya, and from what I understand, maneless zebra, Burensis exists further north into Uganda and even South Sudan. So I don't know. Could it have come down? Could it just be a plain zebra that's missing a mane and has floppy ears? It all seems very. Have you encountered ears in wild animals that you have experienced in North America?
I can't recall with any sort of herbivore, but with brown bears, sometimes older brown bears, like the cartilage in their ears breaks, maybe in a fight or something like that. So we do see brown bears or and black bears with floppy ears over time. I was wondering, like, could those possibly be an injury? But the floppiness is so symmetrical that I wonder if it's just like an
Yeah.
inherited trait of that particular zebra rather than age. Because do you see that in, like, if you look at an old zebra and you're like, oh yeah, that's an old individual, Do you see other zebras with floppy ears like that?
No, no, I've
Okay.
never seen it in a zebra. So this is really unusual. Um, but what you're talking about with like kind of weakened cartilage in the ear, we see that a lot with hyenas. And they end up with floppy ears, particularly as they get older or if they've been involved in a fight. But I've never seen that in a zebra before. I've also never seen no mane. Um, but I also understand that certain or mutations in certain genes, like one gene doesn't is not necessarily just for hair, but it can also changes in it can affect other characteristics of an animal. So I wonder if there's a relationship, whatever causes hair growth in the mane and cartilage growth in the ears. But I would say that that is an inherited trait, or at the very least, something something goes wrong in fetal development. But I don't think it's a result of the environment or existing in the environment.
Yeah, it's a
Mindy,
very
you said,
special individual,
yeah,
regardless.
I'm posed. Oh, I believe this zebra is named Marty. So there we go, everyone. You can call him Marty. It would be interesting to see how it exists with the rest of the group, whether it's able to mate, those kinds of things. But this is completely unusual, not something I've ever seen. Never seen floppy ears, never seen no mane. And Mindy, you also say, "Wow, I didn't notice the no mane." Oh, interesting. And if you do want to have a bit more of a research, I mean, I just had a quick look. Check up the maneless zebra, um, Equus quacker barensis. Just have a quick look on it. Maybe it could be this one, but there's not a ton of information out on the maneless zebra. But yeah, maybe we can try and figure out a little bit more about Marty. Otherwise, he's just special and different, like so many of us.
Would his floppy ears affect his ability to signal mood or intent? Like so many animals are expressive with their ears, forward being curious, or laying them back, acting defensive, stuff like that. Would Do you think that might affect this zebra? Again, coming from just asking as somebody who doesn't know much about
Yeah,
zebra behavior.
absolutely, because zebras do communicate a lot with their ears, and they'll push it back. They can show aggression, they can show curiosity, they can show being relaxed, they can show subordinance, dominance, and the ability to do all those things is basically gone. So if I had to make an informed prediction, I would say that it's very unlikely that he would be able to form a harem or to be dominant over a harem, because um, he wouldn't be able to display in the same way as others males would, which also means that the only time that he would be able to display would be with uh, direct contact, when we know that with most animals there's this whole ritual before the actual direct contact happens, which might put him at further risk of injury and death. So I think that he might be challenged to try and assert himself, and be dominant. The other thing, obvious one, is of course zebras have nice big ears so that they can listen well to predators and to their other herd mates, and he's completely lost the advantage of having a penne because it's just flopped over.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just have to see what happens with old Marty. It's time to say goodbye, Mike. Is there anything else you'd like to say? Perhaps you have a name
Thanks for
here
having
you'd
me.
like.
I need to do a bit more research on pangolins. If I have an animal that seems like it needs a nickname, I like to get to know its personality just a little bit better. And of
You
course,
know,
that's not an actual animal, but maybe it could be inspired by the behavior of a well-known pangolin, or something that pangolins do.
you know,
So
I
I have to
really
have to put some
appreciate.
thought into that.
I really appreciate that because I can't just give a name on a whim myself, unless it just hits me. But you know what to do if you have a name for my Pango pup here. Send it on through maybe on Tuesday or on Thursday because I'll see you then too. But for now, Mike, it's always a pleasure to have you on board. I hope that you have a wonderful Halloween. Maybe you dress up for yourself. Maybe you go down to the local town. Whatever it is, have a great one.
All right. Yeah, thank you very much. It's fun to be here.
And thank you all for joining us. A happy Halloween wherever you are. Happy Diwali if you're celebrating. And we'll see you all soon. Thank you so much for joining us and goodbye for now.